Okay, so I'm speaking today with Ruth Oleksik, who works for Astra Zeneca as a search optimization analyst. Okay, so that's your job title, Ruth. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that actually means?
Yes, so basically, I support a team that looks after what's called an enterprise search platform, and that's very similar to what you would see when you look in Google or you do a search in Bing. So AstraZeneca has a global search platform for all of its employees. And my team, with the help of some engineers who are based in different parts of the world, look after this platform for all of AstraZeneca. My role in particular looks at the analytics that sit behind that platform. So things like the amount of users that come onto the platform, that can be daily, monthly, yearly. We look at findability issues for information. So as you can imagine, in AstraZeneca, we have scientists who are looking for information. We have researchers, we have people in the labs, we have technicians, we have a whole host of different people trying to find different documentation to support making the drugs, or in this instance, in very recent circumstances, making the vaccine. So yeah, it's really sort of a global role that supports multiple different parts of the AstraZeneca business. And it's really interesting because we get to see lots of different areas of AstraZeneca and help to support our internal customers, so our different colleagues, in finding information and also helping them to search for information. So all the data that sits behind that is sort of something that I look at on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. Right, okay, fantastic. So it sounds like quite a varied role. And I mean, a lot of our pupils at school may have only recently heard of AstraZeneca because of the vaccine. It may not have crossed their minds before what AstraZeneca is. But in terms of an organisation, I know it's a big global organisation. What sort of roles are there? Obviously, you mentioned science, you mentioned research, and obviously you're based on the, I suppose, on the ICT analytics side. But what other roles are there?
Oh, as you mentioned, it's global, so there are all sorts of things. There is the research and development side of the business, which is all to do with the scientists and the technicians and how they research all the very scientific things to do with the drugs, which I really couldn't tell you. But you've got that arm of the business. You've got the IT bit, which I support with, which again is a massive part of the company. You've got things in there like the manufacturing side of the drugs, so the warehouse, the operations, the logistics.
Yeah.
There's just so many different roles. You've got the marketing of the products that again are global. We've got AstraZeneca's got pockets of offices all around the world, and each different country is regulated in a different way. So you've got part of the marketing is to deal with all different countries' regulations and laws and what we can and can't do. So there's so many opportunities. It's such a big business that there's probably loads on there that I haven't even mentioned yet. There's a lot going on.
I mean, I suppose it's one of those companies that, from a school's point of view, many different parts of what we deliver at school would actually be relevant. So obviously there's the science part, but just going on what you said about marketing, I mean, we teach business studies and enterprise at school, so it could be that there are opportunities there for people who focus on business rather than science. So it's not just a science company, it's a massive global organisation that has such a huge variety of jobs. How long have you been working there for AstraZeneca in that role?
I'm fairly new in terms of the AstraZeneca world. I've only been at the company for about 14, 15 months now. So I'm fairly a newbie to AstraZeneca. So there's a lot of things that I'm still learning and still getting to know about it. Yeah. But in the world of analytics, I've done the analytics aspect of, I suppose, just different job roles for maybe the last 10 years or so.
Right. Okay. So you've been doing this kind of work for a while, but only recently in AstraZeneca. So What would you say your typical day looks like, if there is such a thing? I don't know.
It is varied, I must admit. I host a lot of calls on Teams, which all the few pupils are getting to grips with now. So there's lots of, and the teachers. So there's lots of hosting of calls, setting up meetings to deal with the different areas of the businesses. And like I said, it's global. So not only am I talking to people in the UK, we've got a big team of IT support in India, in Chennai. There's guys out in the States. So we have to manage calls based on time zones and things like that. So you're doing a lot of sort of project management side of things. So you could be sort of owning a piece of work that you see through from start to finish. And that have various different tasks associated to it. So you got the analytics side of thing, which is looking like maybe very large data sets and using tools such as Excel or some sort of database, or Visio, which is sort of a bit more like mapping a process. There's lots of different parts to it. So it can be very varied in terms of a day. Yeah, you can be jumping from sort of one task to the next, but I'd say the most important thing is you're owning that sort of activity of work, and you're sort of responsible for that and accountable. So you've got to be quite organised.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I mean, what would you feel is like the best part of your job? I mean, you said about like owning and having responsibility for things is quite. I think it's quite important for a lot of people. But what would you say is the best part of the job, of the role?
Part of my job is, if I'm completely honest, I actually really love the team I work in. My immediate team in the UK, we're quite small. There's five colleagues based in the UK. So we've got a really good team working relationship. We work very well together collaboratively. And it's very rewarding because of that, because we're such a tight-knit unit. We deliver a lot of success through different projects we're involved with in the business. And that aspect of my job I find really rewarding. Yeah. And obviously everything going through with the vaccine, and not as much as IT have supported the scientific side of it thing, but we've definitely supported a lot to do with the business. And finding documents and making things very easily findable for the scientists and the research departments. So it is rewarding in that sense.
I imagine, I think particularly at the present time. I mean, in terms of your role, and say we've got some pupils at school who'd be interested in getting into that kind of area of work, what would you recommend as a kind of a pathway academically, or in terms of apprenticeships, or what would you kind of recommend?
I mean, you've got to have an inquisitive mind. So if you like, I suppose, finding things out and problem solving is a good starting point. I know I started off in my analysis sort of first role was just looking at very small data sets and building up from there. I built up my skill set in Excel and applications such as Microsoft Access, which is database. So starting off there and building your knowledge through maybe sort of some online learning that you can do in Excel. And then from there, I did do a degree in business information technology. And again, I actually did my degree through whilst I was working. So I went to evening classes. So I was getting the practical experience through being in work, and also building my sort of education as well from that side of things. So yeah.
So recommend there's the academic route, but it's quite important to maybe balance that with the practical skills.
Yeah, I think, there's a lot you can learn from doing things in your degree, and definitely things around the more technical aspects, but the practical side of things was learning more about how I can prioritize my own work and learn to run my own work streams. And I had really good mentors in the different jobs that I had, that I learned a whole host of different things from. There's more methodologies around things like agile. I don't know if the pupils will know about that, but it's a project sort of management style of working. And these are kind of things that you pick up from people who mentor you when you're in work. And it's really rewarding, and it's a really good opportunity to sort of find some people like that who you can glean their knowledge and experience.
Yeah, steal as much knowledge as you can. So in terms of AstraZeneca, do they offer apprenticeships at AstraZeneca, or does it tend to be kind of degree level entry, or?
From the top of my head, I think I've seen graduate placement schemes in AZ so far. I don't sort of quote me definitely on that. They may well do as things at apprenticeship level, but I know there's definitely a lot of support in place for people who maybe want to come through on a graduate scheme or want to come for work experience.
Right. Okay.
So I think there are opportunities there. They're very much part of trying to support local communities. So it's the actual AstraZeneca where I'm based is in Macclesfield, so it's not too far from Newcastle under Lyme, and they very much want to support and grow people, and you can go for like tours on site when everything hopefully is a bit more back to normal. So yeah, I think there's a lot of support if there's a particular area, even if you don't really know where you want to go into. I think on the graduate schemes, they get to experience all different aspects of the business.
Sure.
So you could start off in IT, but then end up in the sciences somewhere, or
so
in operations.
To experience different areas of the business.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Ruth, that's been brilliant. Well, thanks ever so much for your time, and I'm sure a lot of the kids will be fascinated to find out about opportunities at AstraZeneca. So thanks again for all your help.
No worries. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.